Welcome, Latin learners. Today we are going to play a game called Sentence Flyswatter based on the sentences from Henle Year 1 Exercise 6. This is a game that was created by my friend Keith Toda, who also happens to be my Latin teacher. And if you were playing this with other people, you might be playing with actual fly swatters and trying to swat at the correct answers. But if you're just watching this at home on a computer or on a phone, I think it's probably best if you just think about the answers, or if you have a feather handy, you could use a little feather to swat at your correct answer, at your guess for each answer. What's going to happen is I'm going to say for you and show you on the screen sentences from this exercise in the Henle text. And you're going to see a set of images, two different sets of images, and you're going to have to pick which set of images best represents the meaning of the sentence. Some of the vocabulary words I'm going to be displaying in pictures, actually, these are all of them, are sailors, which are going to be shown by two people that are dressed in sailor uniforms. Mary is going to just be a picture of a woman, this woman right here. Forest is going to look like this. Land is going to be the picture of land. Province, the picture of a map. Glory is going to be a crown with sparkles coming down. Victory is going to be a trophy that says victory. Praises is going to be a picture of two clapping hands because applause, the end of applaud is L-A-U-D, which is the same part of this, the same spelling as the stem of the word for praises in Latin, which is laudat or laudant. And then sees is going to be eyeballs for seeing. A rule to remember that's going to help you to interpret these sentences is that in Latin, the verb usually stands last in a sentence. That means usually the verb is going to be the last word in a Latin sentence, even which is different than in English. So the only two verbs that you're going to see in this activity are the words for praise and the words for see. And you'll see two different forms of each one. Laudant means more than one people are praising. So laudant is praise as in they praise. And laudat means that just one person is praising. So it would be like he praises or she praises or it praises. So that's why those are different sometimes. And then same thing with the verb for to see. Vident is if more than one people are seeing. Videt is if he is seeing, she is seeing, or it is seeing just one person. So the NT on the end of a verb means that more than one person's doing it. All right, ready to play? We'll kind of walk through the first one together. Okay, nautai provinciam vident. Nautai provinciam vident. Nautai, think about what that means. And then remember, the verb comes last in a Latin sentence. So you're usually going to skip over that middle. Nautai provinciam vident. Vident means seas. Nautai means sailors. So nautai provinciam vident. The sailors see provinciam. Now you have to figure out, is this one or two provinces that are being seen? One or two? How can we know? If you guessed, my error code here, then you are correct. Nautai provinciam vident, because provinciam means just one province. If it was more than one, it would be provincias. The sailors see the province. Nautai provinciam vident. So nautai provinciam vident is this one. The sailors see the province, singular. Okay. Maria silvas laudat. Maria silvas laudat. One or two? Which one do you pick? Maria silvas laudat. If you picked one, you are correct. Maria silvas. Now see, here's the S on the end of silva, so it's plural. So more than one forest. Laudat. She praises the forests. Mariam laudat. This one is tricky because look, Mariam ends with an M on the end, which means it is not the subject of the sentence. If you see an M on the end of a noun in Latin, it's not the subject of the sentence. So it's not the first word in the sentence. So it's not that Maria praises, can't be number 2. It's that this implied subject over here, he, she, or it, praises Mary. So just like you may have learned if you took essentials for classical conversations, just like the implied you can be a subject in English, subjects can be implied in Latin too. So you don't have to say the word you when you're giving a command. Like you can just say, wash the dishes. I didn't say you wash the dishes, but you knew that that's what I was saying. I just said wash the dishes, and the same thing happens in Latin. And that information is carried here at the end of the verbs. So laudat, if it's a verb that ends in at, in this case, then in this instance, then that means he or she or it is doing the praising, one person. And if it's an nt on the end of a verb, it means that they, implied they are doing the action. So that's why we have here, he praises Mary, or she praises Mary, or it praises Mary. Okay. Nauta, not nautai, nauta. Nauta silwas videt. Nauta silwas videt. Nauta silwas videt. If you guessed 2, you are correct. Nauta is one sailor. Plural sailors is nautai. So nauta silwas, more than one forest, because it's as, not am. Nauta silwas videt. Nauta silwas videt. And in English, we would say the sailors sees the forests. Nauta portam videt. Nauta portam videt. Is it one sailor or 2 sailors? Nauta portam videt. Just one, because it's nauta, not nautai. Nauta portam videt. The sailor sees the gate. Provinciam non laudant. Again here, we've got to have that error, because on provinciam, it ends in am, so we know that is not the subject. So the subject is going to be implied. We look here, and it says nt, and the nt on a verb means they. So they don't praise provinciam. Is provinciam one province or more than one? If you said number 2, you're correct. They don't praise the province. Otherwise, it would be provincias non laudant. Nautai provinciam vident. Nautai provinciam vident. Nautai provinciam vident. What are they saying? Number 1, the sailors, nautai provinciam, one province, vident. They see one province. Nautai Mariam laudant. Nautai Mariam laudant. Nautai, I think, is that 1 or 2 sailors? Nautai Mariam laudant. Nautai is, did you guess number 1? More than 1 sailors. So it's nautai laudant, because it's more than 1 sailor. It's laudant, not laudat. Nautai Mariam laudant. The sailors praise Maria. Okay, so remember, in Latin, one of your rules is that a finite verb agrees with its subject in number and person. That just means that verbs are spelled differently based on who is doing them. So if they are the ones doing the action, it would be laudant or vident with the nt on the end. If it's a he, she, or it doing it, if it's just one person, it ends in just the t, laudat, vident. If I am the one doing it, it would be even different. It would be laudo or video. So a finite verb agrees with its subject in number of person. The spelling is going to change based on who is doing the action. That's all that means. Nauta gloriam laudat. Nauta gloriam laudat. Nauta gloriam laudat. Number 1, nauta gloriam laudat. Good. The sailor praises the glory. Victoriam laudat. Uh-oh, there's an M on the end of that first word, so it's not the subject. The subject is implied. Laudant. Okay, so NT, remember, finite verb agrees with its subject in number and person. I think I messed up the verb on that a little bit, but NT means they. So they praise victoriam. Is victoriam singular or plural? Number 2, victoriam laudant. Nautai Mariam laudant. Nautai Mariam laudant. Who's the one doing the praising? Nautai, number 2, Nautai Mariam laudant. We know that Maria is not the subject. She's not the one doing the action because it's got the M on the end. Nautai Mariam laudant. So it's number 2. Nautai teram laudant. Nautai teram laudant. Well, someone's praising the land, singular, because it's not us. But is it a nauta or a nautai? It's a nautai. Number 1, nautai teram laudant. Victoriam laudant. It's an AM, so it's not the subject. So it's going to be, the subject is going to be implied. Just skipped over it. NT means they. They, laudant anvident. Number 1, they praise the victory, singular. Provinciam non laudant. Oh my gosh, another one. Provinciam, it has the am on the end, so it is not the subject. The subject is implied. NT means they, so they don't praise provinciam. Provinciam number 2, they don't praise the province. Nautai provinciam vident. Nautai provinciam vident. Number 1, nautai is sailors, plural, provinciam vident. They see the province. Nauta gloriam laudat. Nauta gloriam laudat. 1 sailor or 2 sailors? It's nauta, not nautai. So it's number 1, nauta gloriam laudat. Provinciam videt. There's an M on the end, so the subject has to be implied. Videt. It's not an NT, so it's not they. It's going to be he or she or it, either one. He, she, or it. Provinciam videt. This would be teram videt, so it's got to be number 1. Provinciam videt. Oh, well, we just did that one. I put those in a bad order, I guess. He, she, or it sees the province. Again, it's implied because of the sees the province, singular. If it were this one, what would it be? Provincias videt. Provincias is plural noun. Nauta portam videt. Nauta portam videt. Number 2, nauta is 1 sailor, portam is 1 door, and videt sees. The sailor sees, the gate. Spanish is the first language I learned, and in Spanish the word for door is puerta. So I always say door naturally when I see portam, but gate is the word we're supposed to learn for it. Maria silvas laudat. Maria silvas laudat. Maria silvas laudat. What is Maria praising? Number 1, silvas, forests, plural. Provinciam videt. Error. Provinciam ends in am. It's not the subject. The subject is implied. Videt is singular, sees. So it's going to be he or she or it sees provinciam, the single province. Number 2. Victoriam laudant. Victoriam laudant. Error. Bing, 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 bing. It's not the subject. Is it going to be they or he, she, or it with an NT on the end? NT means they. They praise the victory. Nautai teram laudant. Nautai teram laudant. Nautai teram laudant. Number 2. Nautai is more than 1 sailor. Laudant, it goes with it. So more than 1 sailor. Laudant. If it was nauta, it would be nauta laudat. Nautai teram laudat, and they are praising 1 land. Teram, not tera. So nautai teram laudat. And that is the end. You did amazing. Great job.